How are you all doing? Happy New Year to you all, folks. It's 2023 and it's going to be a year of surprises, I hope, for all of you. 2022 was a blast. We got to do so much. We learned a lot. Our community grew stronger, and we are here back with GHW Beginners Week first in the first month of the year, 2023. So, how are you all feeling? We'll just wait for a couple more minutes so that everybody gets a chance to settle in. I know it's the first stream and everyone is super excited to just get started. So we'll start in a few minutes and we'll get away with introductions also. So just settle down, grab your cup of coffee. It's going to be a good stream and we'll have a lot of fun. For those of you folks who are joining us for the first time, welcome. We are a bunch of lovely community folks who just get together once in a while and learn new skills and level up. For those of you folks who are returning, welcome back. And I'm super, super excited to see you all here. I mean, it's been a while since I've been up on stream, and there are a bunch of updates that I would really, really love to share with you. So we'll get on that real quick. So, folks who are joining us again, can you give us a hey in the comment section so that I know you all are here? Wow, yes, I can see Ayush, Rahul, and Aniket. Everybody's joining up. So many great folks. It's nice to see folks again. Great to see you all. Welcome, welcome to the stream. Settle down. All right, for those of you folks who don't know me, my name is Sashrika and I am an EU coach. Yes, I was an APAC coach before and I recently shifted to London. So, what we're going to do is we're going to talk more about ourselves. I would love to know what you're up to. It's been a while and I would love to know what you've been up to. Share two new facts about yourself that you've been up to in 2022, and now that 2023 is started, we'll just start it off with a blast. Yeah, so two facts about me is that I recently shifted my job and started working as a software engineer for Google. And the second fact about me is that I colored my hair red. Absolutely, yes. You, some of you might call it existential crisis. I myself call it existential courage. So that's the thought of the day from my side. But yes, I'm super excited to be here with you on the GHW stream, and I would love to know more about you. You can share more about how your GHW experiences have been. You can share more about what your MLH or Major League Hacking hackathon journey looked like. And I'm super excited to see you all here. Hello, everyone. Welcome. All right, new here. There are a bunch of new folks here. I would love to see you also. If you're new here and you're joining us for the first time, just give us a wave or just a shout out or say a hey in the comment section. And we'd love to welcome you all to the community. We'd love to give you all a great warm welcome. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in these streams or in Discord. We are a helpful community. Everyone here is so great and caring that they would love to be there for you. So, first timers, welcome, welcome. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So much enthusiasm. I mean, why not? It's the first stream of Global Hack Week, right? It should be with enthusiasm. And I could see that in the comment section as well. Lovely. Okay. So we have Jayesh here, and oh, I see a lot of folks who are joining in again. So great to see you again. Awesome. A little quick update on what we are doing here. So today we are going to learn more about Git. For those of you folks who are absolutely new to this, don't worry at all. It is Beginners Week after all, and I couldn't be more thrilled to share this with you that we will start from the very basics. You don't have to worry about, knowing everything or just cramming up some terms or something. We'll cover everything, and I would really encourage you to ask as many questions as you can because that is what's going to help you learn. So, yes, I've already kicked out my roommate from the apartment. I've taken over a room and her desk space because I didn't have one. I just shifted. And now we're all set to run Global Hack Week. So, super excited to see you. I can see there are a lot of folks who are joining in from around the world. So, tell me where you're joining in from. I can see folks from Pakistan. I can see folks from India. That's so great. So nice to see you here. All right, all right. But before we check in, folks who are returning, they can actually share this more. But before we actually do get started with the event, we get started with stream and learning new skills. What is the first thing that we do? What is the one thing that we do when we start a stream? Anyone? Any guesses? I can see folks from you in India. Welcome, welcome. Oh oh, there's folks from New York. No, say hi. Yeah, of course. I already said hi. Yes, hello everyone. You all said hi as well. The second thing that we show Blahaj, definitely for those of you folks who are not aware, Blahaj Gang is a guild that we are part of. Adam runs it. It's super exciting. So yeah. But actually, what we do is we check in. Have you all checked in for the event? No, you've not. And there's one person who actually knew what to do. That's check in. So you need to go to hackp.ac/GHW. Let me put that down in the comment section for you all. hackp.ac/GHW. Get GHW. So this link would take you directly to, well, let me just show you the page itself. Let me share the screen. One second. Share screen and then tab, and there you go. All right, can you see my screen? Awesome. Yes, forgot. You don't get the points, right? We're all here for the points. Even though it's just for fun, we love to earn these points to make sure that we achieve something great this weekend. These points would like remind you all the time what great activities you've done and how your Global Hack Week went. So just go ahead and check in for your event. If you'll go to this link, it'll take you to this page, which is our organizer page, and you can see that the intro get session is there. You need to click this right blue button right here, the one that you see which says login and register to earn your point. And yes, I'm going to earn my point right about now. I think I did. Awesome. All right. Yes, we are all checked in. And as soon as you're checked in, I would love to hear from you. So just come back in the comment section. Let me know that you're checked in so that we can get started. We can start with the session. It's gonna be great. I hope you are hogged up on caffeine. It's gonna be a good long session where we're gonna cover the basics of Git, and I'm trying to do my best to make you a pro at it so that you can work on your projects peacefully this weekend and you don't have to worry about collaboration and other stuff. So yes, awesome. I can see a lot of people have checked in. If you have not checked into the beginners week, uh, the main beginners week page, so you need to go to ghw.mlh.io. You can find the schedule there. You can find a link to registration there. Just make sure you're registered and checked in, folks. Awesome. All right, let's just come back. I'll come to the screen. Awesome, great. Checked in. Is there some way we can see our points? Great question. Yes, definitely. You'll receive an email from Mary by the end of the day where you can see what points you have earned, what all activities are there up for the next day. So keep an eye out for that email. That's actually a great resource for you. Awesome. Checked in. Checked in. Folks are all checked in. I'd love to see it. That's great. Enthusiasm at its peak. And that's what we love to start our sessions with, right? Awesome. So let's get started. Um, just to make sure I understand, like who all are joining in. So just let me know about your experiences with GHW throughout the week. I'll be there in Discord, so I would love to know you all a little better. Just make you free to just message on the group chats and your guild channels, and we'd love to engage with you more. All right. Yes, and end of the day. Yeah, I think so. I think that's a daily check-in as far as I know. But if you want to confirm, just post that message in Discord, and you'll get an answer from the team. Yes. Awesome. Cool. Great. Yes. Check in. You'll receive. Great, awesome. All of you folks are checked in. Love to see it. Cool. So how many of you folks know about Git and GitHub? Let's start with the most basic question, right? How many of you folks are aware about GitHub? I would love to see the comment section with raised hands, or if not, don't worry about it. If you're absolutely new, just mention that I'm a beginner, or a beginner like word as would just be fine. And according to that, I'd love to talk more about GitHub. I'll talk more about terms that we're going to use here, give you a brief idea of what we're going to cover in this session, and then we're going to start with the hands-on demo. Sounds like a plan? All right. Oh, wow. I think that we have a lot of beginners, but there are folks who know about Git as well. Awesome. But yes, that's absolutely right. Git is a free and open source version control system, as we call it. And I know this is a mouthful of words for folks who are just joining in. I knew when I was just starting out in my college, and there's this term came up, I didn't even know what it means, and then everybody's like, yeah, it's a version control system, you should know about it. And I had absolutely no idea. Who do I ask? Don't worry, we'll cut this into short versions. We'll just break the statement down and talk more about Git and GitHub right here. Okay, awesome. All right. So, for those of you folks who are seeing the comment section and see the term version control system, don't worry about it. I'll tell you what version control system is. So version control system is basically a way for us developers or programmers to track our changes. Our code has a lot of changes. We are constantly pushing code. We are constantly making changes to our code and updating it. What if there was a way to actually maintain that history so that you can go back in time? You don't actually go back in time, but you go back in the history to actually view those changes. And if you make a mistake, I mean, you can just go back and redo it. It's I kind of you think of Git like a way to just reset everything and work on it again if I want to, and collaborate with folks from around the world. So it is a way for you to track your code changes, store your history, and if you update your code, you can just go ahead and see what's been happening over time. It can also help you in knowing if you're working in a team. Perhaps, let's say, I am pretty sure you're working together in guilds and teams of four, etc., to make projects this weekend. So what if everybody is working together? How would you know who's working on what feature, who's made what changes? And let's say you want to work on that feature, you want to learn that skill, you need to know who to reach out to. All of this can actually be tracked through a version control system. There is one question in the comment section, which is, am I late? No, absolutely not. You just need to check in. We're just starting. We've just discussed about what version control system is, and we'll go deep in some of the other terms. So don't worry, we'll cover everything. If you have any questions, just post them in the comment section and we'll take them up. Awesome. Yes. So version control system. I hope that that is clear. If they have any questions, just post them in the comment section, and I'll just cover them a bit more. But yes, if you're working with a team, if it's easier for you to collaborate through Git and through a version control system, and Git being a tool for that, we will be using that and learning more about it. The second term that you'll come across a lot is open source, which is your source code made freely available for modification or redistribution. You can just post that on GitHub and everybody can contribute to that code. Think about it this way. Let's say you have a project idea, right? You posted it on let's say you posted it on up on the internet. We'll talk more about terms later, but in just lay terms, you posted it on the internet and you would love to, get help from folks around the world who are interested in learning the same skills or working on the same project. And so you are making your code freely available for others to use, build upon on top of it, and then basically create a new app and your app a reality, right? So there are certain examples that I can give you. There are so many examples out there, and you'll see that there's so much that you can do here. So, and the two terms that you've been listening a lot about, which might give you a lot of confusion, would be between Git and GitHub. There are a lot of terms being thrown around at you. So, how many of you know the difference between Git and GitHub? It's not the same, folks. It's not the same for those of you who are hearing it for the first time. Git and GitHub are two different things. So, do you know about it? Just let me know in the comment section. I will cover it for sure. Don't worry about it if you don't. But if you know, I would love to hear responses from you. All right. Yeah, I know, right? A lot of folks think that they're the same, but they aren't. They aren't. All right. Okay. How many challenges do we have to submit on DevPost? That's totally up to you. You can submit as many challenges as you want. There are daily challenges, and the schedule is up on ghw.mlh.io. Yes, so we have one response which says GitHub is where you can post your source code, and Git is a version control. Absolutely. Git is actually the tool you use to track all of those changes in your code over time, and GitHub is the website to host that project so that it makes your collaboration easier. You can work together on a, project. You can host it remotely, and then you can work from there. Awesome. Yes, I can see some great responses, and I love to see that the community is being helpful. If you have questions, folks, please do post them in the comment section. We'd love for you to learn more about Git, and we want to make this as easier for you as possible. I'd answer those questions up on stream, but as you can see, there are so many great folks in the community who'd love to answer them in the comment section as well. Okay, awesome. Great. Now that we're all on the same page, let's talk about a little bit of the Git commands that we're going to use. But before that, I would love to share a resource with you that I've been using. I've used all my college, throughout my college life. It's been a resource that was really helpful for me, and it was actually a cheat sheet presented by itself. So let me just share that with you if you don't have it already. This is a link. All right, so yeah, let me know if you're unable to see the link, but I've just shared the link on Twitch. You can check. out. It's and if you're not able to see the link, because I see that there is an issue with Facebook, if you're joining us on Facebook, just go ahead and search for GitHub cheat sheet. You can actually see that on the GitHub training page. It's a great resource, and we would be covering some of the terms that you see here in our session today. So as you can see, if you let me just share my screen while I present more about this, because that way it would be easier to talk about it. All right. Sharing my screen. Present. All right. There you go. It's up here. No, not this side. This side. Mirror image. This side. You can see the screen. So, as you can see, if you are joining for the first time, and I know a lot of you folks are beginners, don't worry about it. The first thing you're going to do is download Git for yourself on your laptops. And in order to check if you already have installed Git or not, you can use Git dash dash version. It's a great, you can open up your terminal. I actually can show you how to do that in a minute. I'll show you about that. But let's just cover for folks who are absolutely sure they don't have Git installed and they can use that. So there are links available on this cheat sheet itself. There's GitHub for Windows that you can download. If you have Windows, if you have Mac, there's a link there. If you like have other platforms, you can also check out Linux and POSIX also for Git distribution systems. So just you can go ahead and check out these links and download Git for your own self. Meanwhile, just keep it on run on download. We'll talk about how you can check if you already have the right, like the recent version of Git available, or if you have Git on your laptops. Let me just pause my screen share for a quick minute and share second screen. All right, yes, awesome. And I am not on the same I'm not viewing the chat screen for now, so if you have questions, just please post them and I'll be there with you shortly. All right, let's just add this to the stream. As you can see that there is, I'm not sure if you were able to view it. Let me just see if I can enlarge this. All right, I hope it's visible now, but you can just, as someone mentioned rightly on the chat, you can use git dash dash version to actually check if you have the right version of Git, and it should give you something of a response like this. All right. So if you have the correct, like if you have Git installed, you'll get a response to this. If you don't have that installed, you need to download this. I've shared the links in the cheat sheet itself. So just go ahead and check that out. If you have any questions, if you're facing any issues while downloading Git, let us know. All right. Meanwhile, all right, coming back to the chat, it's a funny way to learn that Linux wrote Git because he was funny. Are you in India now? I am not. I'm not in India right now. I'm in London. Yes, I'm in UK. From where I can see how much points I've heard. This is something again we've already answered. You will get an email from Mary by the end of the day, probably to know what your points are throughout the day. So if you are waiting for that, just let them know. You can also post in Discord if you're facing any issues with the points. All right, yes, Git dash dash version, not Git version. I'll just post that as a comment as well so that it's easier for you to test those out. So once you've downloaded Git, just run git dash dash version and check if you have it installed correctly. If you're facing issues, just please let us know and we'll help you out. Yes, you need to open up your terminal or your command prompt and then just type this in. It worked? Awesome. Great. Glad to hear that it already worked for you. If you've already installed Git, I would like to I'd like you to also come back to the comment section and let me know so that I can proceed, because that's again the first step and we're making this as beginner friendly as possible. We like to cover some concepts next. And in order to do that, I would love to see you all on the same page. All right, it worked. I can see for a lot of folks it worked. What I'm going to do is I'll cover the concepts a bit now, and once you have installed Git, just let us know in the comment section. All right. So yes, there are certain terms that you'll come across. Now, I would love for you to take like a pick up, like open up notes in your laptop or pick up a pen or pad, whatever works for you. Just make sure you have these noted down. We'll cover what these are deeply when we're doing with like going with the demo and working our way through the session. But I would love for you to know about these terms because they'll come up a lot when I'm talking about it, and so it will be easier for you to know if you've already heard of it before. So there would be something called GitHub clone. Again, this is something you can actually find in the cheat sheet itself. Let me just bring up the cheat sheet again up on screen. There you go. It is right here. All right. So there are certain things
Mm.
that you would learn from here, and you'll be seeing a lot of things in this cheat sheet, right? It's a great resource for you all. In this cheat sheet, there are certain things that we would cover in this session, and there are a lot more that you can cover on your own. But at the end of the cheat sheet, there is actually a glossary for you all to look at those terms, which are very, very common. For example, clone is a term that we're going to use. If let's say you want to bring a repository is let's say a folder or a directory of your code, which includes your source code, your information, and it's up on GitHub. Cloning it means bringing that repository from GitHub to a folder in your local machine. And so, but this glossary would be a great go to if you want to know more about some terms that are coming up in this session, right? The second thing that we'd cover would be like git add or adding means to track some of the files or some of the changes that you have made. We'll cover more about what this means in detail. We'll cover more about how all of these terminologies work, but for now, just get a brief understanding of what it is we're going to cover here. The other term you'll come across is commit. You can actually see that in the glossary itself. Folks, just to make sure, are you able to see the cheat sheet clearly, right? It's not like really small, right? Do you want me to zoom? Hello, everyone. Just post in the comment section if you would like me to zoom. All right, I've not seen a message, so I'm just going to continue here. I'm assuming that you're able to see the cheat sheet properly. All right, so we were talking about commits, right? So you can save your files. Okay, you mean need me to zoom it? All right, of course. Can you see it now? All good? Awesome. Yes, folks, you can always tell me if something is not visible, if my voice is not audible. We are here to learn, and we know that we can run into technical issues at a lot of times. So just make sure I'll make sure that I'll keep bringing this up if everything is looking good. But if it's not, just let me know in the comment section. All right. Cool. Perfect. I can see all the enthusiasm. I can see you're all excited to learn about Git. I am excited to help you out, learn more about it as well. We'll be doing this together. We'll learn together more about Git, and we'll see how you can make your collaboration easier this Git in this Global Hack Week. All right, so we were talking about we've covered commits, we've covered add, we've covered clone. Let's talk more about push or pull request. Let's say, right? So pull request is basically it's your place to compare the differences. A pull request is, let's say, um, someone else is posting a code. For example, let me see who is there. So for example, Santosh from the comment section has a project I've hosted, and now I Sashrika come up and say, hey, I see your project, I'm really interested in it, and there is a feature here that I have previously worked on. This is how I worked on it, and this is the solution to your issue. So I'll just share it with them, and I'll ask them, hey, does this look good to you? If this looks good, would you like to merge it into your code base? And so if Santosh thinks that yes, that is absolutely perfect, they will definitely they will accept my pull request and merge my code into their um, repository on GitHub. So does this make all good? Does this make sense to you? You have questions, I'll cover them. I'll show you how it's done in real time. But if you have questions on the theoretical concept of it, I can cover those in detail now. Cool. Awesome. All right. Yes, and finally, there would also be pulling the code back from the GitHub repository to your local machine, which is downloading changes from your remote to your repo into your local machine. So if you're working on your local machine and you work with your code base, you want to see what else is like. You want to actually grab those changes if there are any on GitHub, and then uh, work on your local machine. So that's what you call pull. So yes, these are some basic terms. We'll cover more about what all these cross-stitch terms are present. But again, would love for you all to keep this cheat sheet open on the side. So if there's any term, you can actually read up about it. If you have questions, post them in the comment section. You know what to do, folks. Awesome. All right. Quick question: can you repeat about commits? Of course, commits is basically where you save your file. So after adding, basically you've tracked your changes. Now you'd like to save those changes, save that history in your GitHub repository. So commit is when you commit all of those changes and save the history on GitHub. Okay, awesome. All right. I think we are good here with the glossaries. You also have access to the cheat sheet. Let me just give you a quick run through of GitHub. Meanwhile, I hope every all of you have downloaded Git on your laptops and you all have run Git version on your command line on your terminal, so that you get an idea of how you're going to run commands as we speak. We'll do a run through again. I've already shown you that, so if you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section. All right, I'm gonna pause my screen share and then I'm gonna bring it up again to show you more about GitHub. All right. I also shared the link to this because I know a lot of you are hearing this for the first time, so you not, might not have heard of this before. But just keep in mind that there are different terms that we've covered at the beginning of the session, and I think that it's really, really important for you to know about those while working through the Git session. All right. So this is the session for. This is the link for GitHub. There you go. It's up on the screen. And for those of you folks who joined late, there is a cheat sheet that we shared. Here is the link. The link is also shared in the comment section. You can actually check that out. A lot of folks also get shared it again. So thank you so much, folks, for helping us out. All right. So this is what my GitHub looks like, but your GitHub would look definitely catered to you based on folks you're following, based on your own projects. And if you're joining for the first time, I would love for you to register yourself on GitHub. Just go ahead, register yourself. We'll give you all a minute, but while I actually talk about the workflows and what is there on GitHub that you can use to your advantage. We'll not cover everything, but we'll cover some of the basic terms that you should be aware about, which would be great for you to get started. All right. Cool. So, once you create a GitHub account and you've installed Git, I would love for you to let me know in the comment section. I want that enthusiasm. I want you to keep sending your messages on in the comment section. The comment section should keep buzzing with a lot of responses. So let me know once you are done with installing Git and creating a GitHub account here. All right. Cool. So let me just open a quick project to tell you more about how GitHub looks like. So GitHub is a place where you can store your repositories, as we covered in the beginning of the session. It's a way for you to save your code base and track changes. There are a lot of things that you would be able to do with GitHub, but for now, let's cover some of the basics, right? So the first section is actually the code section. Again, you have your own code base. There is something called branches in Git, which we'll cover it in detail. So don't worry about it. But for now, this main keyword that you see here is actually the main branch, the branch which has um, the main code base, I would say. We'll cover more about branches. Don't worry about it. But yes, that's how you can see the code base. One quick tip that I use and would might also be useful for you as well is I use a extension called Octotree to actually help me out in navigating my code base really easily, so I can just you know move straight away to the activity, check out my code base, and if I want to move to a different file, I don't need to go back. I can just go ahead and try it this way. Open it directly from here. So this is a great extension that I've been using. So if you want, you can also download Octotree for yourself. All right, coming back to the code. So this is what your code looks like. You can always add a README, like this project is telling me to. Add a README, add your code. There is another column which is called issues. So what exactly is issues? Yes, Octotree is a Chrome extension. I downloaded Octotree. Let me see if I can give you the name or the link. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I'm not able to give you the link right now, but yes, it's called Octotree. Let me put that in, and I'll give you the extension at the end of this session. Octotree. All right. Yes, so Octotree is there on the code, and you can use it to navigate easily. I think somebody also shared Octotree link in the comment section, so you can check that out. Awesome, thank you so much, friends. Thanks for sharing that with me. All right. Yes, so Octotree is one I use, and you can actually check out more extensions as well to make your workflow easier. But for now, let's focus on the basics first. We'll talk more about extensions later. All right. Second thing that you see is a tab here which is called issues. Now, let's say I have created an app called Health App. Now, this app is something that I have created in the previous Global Hack Week when I was teaching folks how to build an Android app. Now, I've created this app and I've posted it on GitHub. I hosted it there. My code is available. Now, let's say I want to improve my app, right? I want to make sure that there are more features that I can add in the app. What I'm going to do is but I don't have time to create all of those features, or maybe I would love to track it first and maybe work on it in the future when do have time, but I don't want to remember everything that I wanted to do. I want to create issues. So issues is a place where you can create new feature requests or new issues that you would like, or new bug improvements that you'd like in your code base, and somebody can pick it up, or you can pick it up yourself while basically solving those issues and working through your code. Pull request actually will cover with in a different repository because you won't get the whole idea here, but as you know before, I told you about it, right? Pull request is when somebody else wants to contribute to your code and is asking you for permission to merge their feature into your code base, right? So pull request is that, but let me actually show you a different uh, project, which will give you much more idea about this. So this is a project called Stardroid, right? It's actually hosted by the SkyMap team, and they work on. As you can see, a small keyword here. I'm not sure if it's clearly visible, but it says forked from. Forked from means that the actual project, the upstream project, is SkyMap Stardroid. I clicked on this button fork to actually make a copy of this entire project in on my GitHub, and that's where I actually cloned this code to my local machine. So whenever I'm going to push my code from the local machine to my GitHub, it'll go to my repository, and then I can also create a pull request to the upstream. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, I know it's too many words, just let me know and I'll cover that again. Okay, a quick question. Meanwhile, a quick break for a minute. We'll take a question here. Can anyone help me with GHW? I don't really understand where I have to go in Discord and how to access the challenge resources extra. So basically, in Discord, you can actually have a look at Global Hack Week announcements, and there would be a place for you to register it. So, yeah, I suppose is a set of channels called Global Hack Week. There's one for Global Hack Week announcement, and another one to join Global Hack Week. If you get that, you can get started with it. Didn't get that. I assume you mean about the pull requests and upstream, right? Let me cover that part again. All right. So let's say we'll cover it from the very basic. Like let's say I not coder is your username, so I'll use that username itself. Not coder, you have a code base, right? You have hosted your code on GitHub. You've created a big project. It's a huge project, and I come up and I say, "Hey, I would love to work on your project." So what I do is I create a copy of I will not make changes to your project. I don't have access to it. I'll create a copy of your project, which is called forking, on my GitHub, on my remote on my GitHub repository, and then it is forking that to my GitHub. So as you can see, Sashrika Stardroid, that's actually a copy of your project. So not coder Stardroid now has a copy in my own repository, Sashrika Stardroid. Now when I want to make changes to it, I would be working on my local machine, right? I would be working on my laptop, not on GitHub. So what I'll do is I will actually clone this project, the term that I used earlier, which is basically copying the project from my GitHub repository to my local machine, work on my local machine, implement the feature, test the features out, do whatever may changes I feel fit in order to make the project better, and then push the code up back to my GitHub repository. Once it's up there, I would love to make a pull request to your code base and asks, hey, not coder, we like this is a feature that I think would solve your issue, and we would love to contribute to your code. So would if you think that it's correct, or you can merge the code into your code base. If not, you can give me feedback. I can keep working on it, right? So that's one entire flow that I told you about, which is for pull request. We'll talk more about it in detail, but for now, I hope you understand the theoretical part of it. All good? Awesome. All right. Yes, the upstream fork thing is actually, so this particular link is actually the original link, or the link which we have, and this upstream project is the project which the team that's actually hosting that project, right? So yeah, you can call this something else as well, but the general convention is to call it upstream. You downloaded the GitHub app on your app is a separate download for Git. If you're talking about using like GitHub desktop or something like that, I would recommend downloading Git for now, because you like GitHub desktop is a great way to, skip past those terminal command lines and you'll not learn more about those. But we'll cover the basics, so I would recommend you downloading Git if you haven't. All right, cool. Awesome. Everybody on the same page. Great. Love to see it. So now I hope that we've covered the theory. I hope you all have downloaded Git and made an account on GitHub. So now let's start with some demos, right? We'll give you a quick minute. We'll take a short, quick 1 minute break. I'll give you time. Let me know um once you have these both of these things done, and if you're not, just let us know in the comment section so we can help you out. Awesome. Yes, great to see it. Where's the enthusiasm in the comment section? Why it has died down? Everyone, are you all ready to start working on your first GitHub, uh a repository that you're going to make? So first, get the first GitHub repository that we're going to create right now. Cool. Awesome. I can see. Yes. Woo. Super excited to see it. All right, duration of this session would be, duration of this session is generally around 2 hours. I think we're already 40 minutes in, so I think we'll take an hour more to actually cover, like, do a hands-on on the concepts that we just talked about. And yeah, that would be all. To install gains, do we have to install only? You don't have to, but it's a recommended way. Homebrew, I find it easy if you're using Mac to install Git. Actually, there is also a different link for you to install it if you want, but yeah, I think this is the easier way. All right, awesome, great. Cool, 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 cool. All right, so let's get started. Now, let's come back to your main GitHub page, shall we? Is everyone on this page, the main github.com page, where they can see a green button which says new inside on the right side of top repositories? Yes. Grab your coffee mugs. Absolutely. We are all set. We have understood the concepts. We understand how the workflow works. We'll talk more about branches and some of the more advanced concepts. But for now, the basics, they're clear to us. We're all set to create a new repository. We are not scared of working on GitHub anymore, because we will get this done by the end of this session. Okay, awesome. All right. All right. Cool. Okay. Right. So I hope yes, I can see that everyone can see this button. So what we'll do is we'll create a new repository. First, I'll talk more about GitHub, and then I'll show you how it can work on your local machine. So let me just, yeah. All right. So first, we'll work on GitHub, as I said, and then I'll also show you how you can do it on your local machine. There are many different ways to initialize a Git repository. Right now, what we'll do is we'll create one on GitHub, and then we'll clone it in our local machine. Because let's say if you're working on a different code base, that's one thing that you'd love to do, right? So if even if it's a new project and like to push it back to GitHub, we'll cover that again. But for now, what we'll do is we'll create a repository on GitHub, and I'll show you how you can clone it back in your local machine. Cool, awesome, love to see it. All right, so what we'll do is you click on this new repository button. It'll open up this page which asks you for a bunch of information. So let's fill up that information, right? So we'll talk about creating a repository, and let's just call it my GHW GitHub project. Right, you can pick your own name, feel free to. I think I'm just too bad with names, so I just pick up a basic one. You can also put in a description if you want. It's optional. I'll skip it. You can keep this public. So this basically means that anyone on the internet can see this repository if they visit your page, or if they have the link as well. You can choose who can commit and who can merge the code, but anyone can just see the repository and have access to the code base. Private is when only you can see and commit to the repository. It's very basic. We'll keep this repository public for now. We'll not use anything else for now. We'll just click on create repository, but there is an option for you to add a readme file directly from here. This is where you can like a description of your project, what your project does. So if somebody else is coming, um, if somebody else is coming up on your, let's say, project, and they want to know what your project is about, the first place they go is the readme file, right? I would highly recommend you all, while working on your projects and during Global Hack Week, to make a readme file so that anybody else can also learn from your resources and know what the project is about. Cool. All right, so click on create repository. Pretty easy. I hope this step is clear up until now. Now, what you see is a bunch of steps, bunch of information, but you don't have to feel scared. We'll cover that one by one. Don't worry at all. So, what you see is that they ask you to create a repository or push an existing code from the command line or import a code from another repository. So, there, as you can see, there are a bunch of ways to actually push code into your GitHub repository. Right now, what we'll do is we'll actually create a file here, and I'll show you how you can clone your project. Cool. So let's just cover a little bit about those three things that I mentioned up on screen so that I can move forward and talk more about it, right? So the first one is actually creating a README project through command line. So if you want, you can create a README project through command line and initialize this and then push the code back to your main repository. Or if you already have a code base that you want to push, that's the second option that they give it. The third one is importing code from another repository. Basically, you can use code from Subversion, Mercurial, a DFS project, anything like that. So there's a lot of information here, but what we will do is we will actually create a file here on GitHub. Just give me one quick second. Let me just come here and see if there are any questions. I just missed StreamYard chat for a minute. All right. Trying to install Git but can't type my password in terminal. Anyone can help with this. So if you type your password in terminal, there is actually a tutorial for you that can maybe help you to install Git if you're facing issues. And if you're unable, this is actually an Atlassian install Git tutorial that you can use. If you can't see the password, that's okay. It's being typed. Just click on enter. You'll be able to see it. If your password is giving you like an invalid authentication error or something, we'll talk about that as well. All right, cool. I hope that your issue is resolved. Just one quick second. Let me just reshare my screen so that you can. Okay, all right, awesome. Issues resolved. Cool, great. For those of you who are still facing issues, I've actually shared another link. There are steps to install Git there. If you're facing issues from directly installing it from the GitHub website, from the Git website, so this is another resource that you can use. Okay, cool, cool. All right. Let me just pull up my screen back again. All right. Let me know if you can see my screen. There was some pop up. I don't know why, but I hope that it's visible now again. All good? Everyone on the same page. You've installed Git, you've worked your way on creating a GitHub profile, and now you've created your first repository. All good? Cool, awesome. All right, so now let's just talk about creating a new file. So we were talking about README, right? So I'll show you how you can make changes on your local machine. I'll also show you how you can make changes directly on GitHub if you want. It's your own project. If you sometimes want to make a change that directly on GitHub, that's also possible. But the recommended way is obviously make changes in your local repository, test out the feature, and then push the code on GitHub. All right, everyone clear? Cool. So let's just start with creating a new file. So you can see this button there, very simple. We'll just click this button. And what we want to do is actually create a README file. So let's just call it, hey folks, welcome to my project. All right, pretty simple, right? Pretty easy. And the reason that I'm showing you here how to edit it here as well is so that you understand like what exactly you actually be able to see those terms that we talked about. For example, commit, you also see readme, you'll see cloning a project, you'll see all of those things. So just keep an eye out for those keywords and you'll be able to relate. Make sure you keep the cheat sheet beside you and you can just refer to the glossary as and when you want. When we'll cover those command line terms, you'll actually be able to see the other information as well. So don't worry about it. All right. So As you can scroll down, you can see that you can commit this new file. So remember, we talked about commit, right? So here you can actually add an optional description, you can add the title. If you not add anything, they'll just say create readme, which is like the default that they have set up. So I'm going to use that, and I'm just going to commit this new file. All right, so as you can see, it's already done, it's already committed. If you want, you can click on this edit button, you can actually give a few changes. So let's just make a very, very small change so I can show you what it looks like. So I'll just call this GHW and committed. There are also options for you to create new branch. Don't worry, we'll talk about branches later, but right now we'll just commit directly to the main branch. So go ahead, make a few changes in your project, try this out, and you can see that you can use Markdown to actually create your README file here, and work your way through it. All right, everyone on the same page. I need to know in the comment section if you have doubts up until this point. I didn't do anything. I just created two commits, very, very simple commits. You can see that in the history button here that there are two commits. I created the README and I updated the README. For those of you who didn't see what I just did, there is actually a history button here that I clicked. Clicking on that actually showed me the commits that I have. Yes, commits is saving the code history. Now it's telling me that at this point, a minute ago, I created my README, which only had "Hey folks, welcome to my project." And at the second point, it has "Update my README," where I added a heading to it, right? So as you can see, it's actually tracking all of those changes that we talked about. At first, they told me that, hey, a minute ago, you actually wrote this, and then this file was actually updated and changed, and now this is what the file looks like. Sounds good? All on the same page? Okay, all right. Cool, awesome. Love to see it. If Just try that out in your own code sample. Don't worry, we're all here to help you. So if you get stuck, just mention your question in the comment section. Cool. All right. So yes, you can see that we can make changes here. Now you saw how you can make changes on GitHub. You saw how you can post your features and make changes by using the edit feature. You saw more about commit. Now what we're gonna do next is actually clone this repository and work on this repository in our local machine. Everybody up for that? All good? I want to see a cool or a yes back in the comment section so that we can move forward. I want to know you all are still there. Come on, you can do this. Yes, let's clone. Okay, awesome. It's pretty simple. So I'm just gonna uh like remove my screen share, stop the screen share, and present it again so that you can see the entire screen. And I use VS Code as my code editor. You will feel free to use whatever code editor you want of your choice. Let me know if the screen is still not visible so that I can just zoom in a bit on both hands. Let me know if you can see VS Code and GitHub project on the side by side. Okay, awesome. Yes. Let's do it. How did I get the header thing? I actually just used Markdown. So at Markdown, you can use hash, and with that, you can actually create this heading, right? So if you see this update readme, this is how you write it: hash and GHW. As you can also see, you can also post down comments if you want, like, hey, this is a comment, this for this comment, I don't want this change, I would like to do it a little differently. You can post those comments and let let the owner know that, okay, this is something that you're looking for. Cool. All right, all on the same page. Great, awesome. Love to see it. Let's just move on with cloning the project. So let me just do a quick, actually, how about I show you with this with terminal. Your download is taking forever. Don't worry about it. If your downloads are taking a little while, don't worry about it. Just come up here, watch the stream, learn more about it. The stream would be available afterwards as well, so you can review it and then download it again. Cool. All right. Let's do one thing. Let's just use the command line. I'll show you it with the command line, and then I'll also show you. I'll open it on VS Code and then show it to you again. All right. So you can all open your command line. Let me just increase the size. Okay. Sorry. Too large. Okay, all good. Yes. I think I have Right window, share again. All right, cool. Okay, so what we want is we actually want to clone this project in our local machine. So that's what we're going to use. Very simple term, very easy. We'll use git clone to actually run this. So that's what I'm going to type now, git clone. But wait, that is not all. We actually need to let them know what we need to clone, right? And I don't want to clone it directly in Dell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the Linux commands that you can use. So for example, the first command we'll see is ls, which is actually listing everything which is there in this particular folder, right? I want to see what all is there in my computer, and you'll all be able to see too. So there is actually a folder that I've created which is called VS Code project. So let's just change my directory into that. So ls is actually what you can use to list everything which is there in that particular directory, and cd is actually change the directory and move on to the next folder. Directory here is referred to as folder. So just make sure, like, just have a look. We'll just talk about that as well. So cd is where we're changing the directory into a new folder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to VS Code projects. So I'm going to create a VS Code project here. Sorry, use tab. Cool. All right, so we're there in VS Code projects. Quick tip: you can use tab to actually let it, autofill itself. So that's what I did. So cd, you cd into the project, you changed your directory. Now you can see that we are actually into VS Code projects. I'm going to do a quick ls again, and you can see that there's already one app present, which is demo app. Now what I'm going to do is create my GitHub, my GHW GitHub project, a local version of it here. So I'm going to do a git clone, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that from here. So you can see that there is a HTTPS link. There are other ways as well. You can use SSH, you can use GitHub CLI. GitHub CLI is actually directly from GitHub command line if you want. CLS is giving you the link, so I'm just going to use this. You can also open up with GitHub Desktop, download zip. There are different ways to get that. So what I'm going to do is just copy the HTTPS link from here, come up here, git clone, and I'm going to paste that link here. So it's just going to clone that entire project uh, into my directory. Just give me a quick second. Sorry. All right, yes. So back on track. If you do another ls again, you can see that there are two projects now. That's my GHW GitHub project, the one that we just created, and then there's demo app. Sorry. There are a lot of things that you can see that are going around here, right? They're cloning the project. They're actually getting all of the information here. So if I go ahead and cd now into my GHW GitHub project again, sorry. Mhm. Oh, sorry. I just changed my directory again. And then again, changed my directory and then cd into the into my GitHub project. All right. If I'm going to do a list again, I can see that there's a README file that I created up on GitHub here. All on the same page, everyone. If you're having doubts, if you're facing any issues, just let me know, and then we can cover a little bit again. So what we did was basically we actually did a git clone in the right place in whatever directory you want, in whatever folder you want your project to be in. And then what we did was list those changes, check cd, like cd into the right directory, and then check what all files do we have in our own project. All right. Yes, use DRI window if ls doesn't work. That's absolutely correct. I'm using Mac, so I'm using ls. If you're using Windows, you can use dir. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right. Yes, ls shows you all the directories on local machine in that current folder. Whatever folder you're doing that ls in, it's just gonna show that. And that's absolutely right. It's not gonna show you hidden files. That's the next thing that we'll cover. So if you want to see hidden files as well, you'll see ls-a. So for that, you'll also see another great folder here, which is .git. So that .git folder is actually what's being used to track the changes in your code base, right? If you also change directory and go to the .git folder, you can see there are different files present there, and that's how you be able to have a look at it. So that those folders are actually hidden folders. README is the file that you can see. Awesome, great, good to see that. Good to see that. Okay, so let's just get this out of the way. Now, just to make it a little easier, I also actually show this project to you in VS Code so that you can actually have a look at it. So if you go to VS Code projects, you will be able to see uh, the project. One second. All right, open folder. You want to see VS Code project, and we want to see GitHub project. Let's open this. All right. If we open the README file, we can actually see our code here now in our local repository. Everyone on the same page. I want to know in the comment section if you're all on the same page and you can see the README file in your local repository. If you're facing issues, let me know. I am trying to go very like slowly and trying to be very specific and explain everything as much as I can. But if you have doubts, just make sure you put them in the comment section. Don't be afraid. We'd absolutely love to help you, and that's how we learn, right? That's how we learn at the end of the day. So the okay, cool, cool, cool. I don't see any more comments. Everyone, are you still present? Let me know if you're interested to know more about Git and GitHub. We'll just cover a little more on making and committing those changes. We've learned those concepts. We just need to apply those. So are you all ready? Just let me know in the comment section. I want to see that enthusiasm there. Okay, awesome. Yes, great, great to see it. All right. Yes, yes, all good. Cool. All right. So now let's do another thing, right? Now what we did was we actually did make some changes in GitHub, right? On the left side. We actually did make some changes directly on GitHub. What if we make changes, like that's your next question, right? What if, Sashrika, we do make changes on our local machine? We are actually making changes in VS Code. How do we push those changes back to GitHub? So let's start working on that. All right. Okay, cool, awesome. So let's just say I'm making a few more changes. Let's say I call this, hey, I'm gonna say something like learning it. We are working. We are not working. We are actually celebrating a week-long hacker festival. Right? Join us in Discord. All right, awesome. You can join a guild, you can join whatever you want, but let's just say I'm putting this in, right? I've made a few changes here. Let's add another file. Let's call it index.html. We have this file now. Quick shortcut for you all. You can type it on your HTML code here, but a quick shortcut is to actually type in HTML. It'll give you a boilerplate code, so I just use that boilerplate code. HTML, if you type in HTML, you can see HTML5 in IntelliSense, and it'll give you the boilerplate code. But you can type it out if you want as well. So that's what I did. I made a few changes. Nothing major to see here. I just made a few changes in README. I added a file index file in README. So now a few things you see in VS Code would be that actually you can see a source control file here, and you can see the changes that you have made. So you can see that there are index changes that you that you can witness, and then you can see that there are README changes that you can witness. So as soon as you click save for both of those, you'd be able to see both those changes. So HTML, these are untracked changes. The term that you see here is untracked, which means that right now it's not being tracked. We've not added it any, we've not saved any comments, we've not done anything. We've just made changes in our local machine and it's not being tracked, right? If you click on this, you can be able to see the difference between the working tree, that this was the original README file on the left hand side, and on the right hand side, you'd be able to see the new version of it after we made some changes. Cool? Awesome. All right, pretty simple, pretty easy. We didn't do much. So what we'll be doing next is that let's just should I open? Okay, yeah. I think enough changes for now. Let me do a quick thing here. Okay, all right. All good, all good. Okay, yeah. So in the source control, you can actually do all of those commits and add additions here itself, but we'll not do that. We'll just use our terminal the original way as we intended to. All right, so let's get our terminal back in place. Let me do a quick second. I'll just get that back here. Sorry, let me know if you can see my screen. I think it just got removed while I was doing that. But anyways, I just opened up a new terminal. In Windows, there would be a button on top, and Mac, I just open up a new terminal from here, and then you can see it here. So now uh, we will run some Git commands. Are you all ready for that? All right, we've created a new HTML file. We've added a few changes to README. Now what we're going to do is we actually want to see what all changes we made. Let's say you've been working on, like, we've made some tiny changes, right? But there might be a position where you've made a lot of changes and you want to track all of those changes. So for that, we do a Git status. A Git status is your friend to know what all has happened in the code uh, since the last commit or since the last time your code was actually saved on GitHub, right? So if you do a Git status, you can see that there is a lot of information that is there. For example, it says that changes are not staged for commit, which means that these are untracked changes. We have modified the README file. There are untracked file presence, and there's not much info. Like there's all of these information is not tracked. It's not saved as of this moment, so it's not committed and it's not add. In order to do that, it's actually giving you those tips as well. That's what we'll do, right? You can add the Git file. You can add individual files if you want. So let's say I just want to add the README file, right? Or let's say we just add the index.html file. Let me just pull this terminal a little bit up so that you can actually see it. Let me know if it's not visible and if you're facing issues, but I hope you can see it. So I just did a git add index.html, right? So basically, I'm just adding one file. That's it. I'll do a git status again. What you can see is that there are changes ready to be committed, which means there are changes ready to be saved. We are tracking it now, and it's not yet saved as of now, but it can be saved. They are ready to be committed, and there are still some changes which are not staged at all. If you are okay with everything, let's say you don't want to do it like file by file, you are okay with all the changes. Another thing that you can do is a git add and a dot, which basically means that all the changes that we have made, all the files that we have, just add them all, right? And once we do a git status again, we're actually able to see that there are changes ready to be committed, the README file change and the new file on index.html. All good up until this point. Anyone facing any issues? We've done very simple things. We've cloned the project. We have done a git status to check all of the changes that we have made, and we've done a git add dot to actually add all of those projects. All good, everyone on the same page? Let me know in the comment section if you're facing issues. I want to know if you're all on the same page and you're all super excited to move on to the next step. If you need time, just let us know that about that as well. But I would love for you to just post that in the comment section so that I know you all are present there. Cool, awesome, yes, great. Love to see it. Love to see that enthusiasm. I want the child room to be brimming with it. And if you are joining us late, don't worry. The session would be available afterwards as well, so you can always scroll back. If you have questions, post them on Discord or on the comment section right now. When we do a git add, it doesn't push it to GitHub. That is correct, it doesn't push it to GitHub. When we do a git add, it's actually storing that in the .git, like it's storing the history in .git file and tracking all of those changes. It's telling us that, hey, these changes are being tracked. If there are more changes that you would like to commit further to GitHub, are ready to like commit them later on, we'll commit them. But for now, these are just changes ready to be committed. They are currently in the staging process, basically, which means that uh, let's say you've made some changes some changes on your code base. Now you would like to track those changes, whatever those changes are, and the next step is to actually save those changes. So right now we are in the stage where we are tracking it. Cool. No, it doesn't push it to GitHub. We'll be pushing the code to GitHub, so you'll just see. No, it's actually not a two-step process. After we commit the code, we actually then tell our command line that, hey, our code is ready, our changes are committed, we've saved it in our history, so just push everything to GitHub. That's when we tell the command to push it to GitHub. Which I'll show you that. There's actually a great workflow in the cheat sheet if you'd like to look at it as well, which is here, like here in the master branch. It's also talking about branches, which we'll talk later. But yes, it's committing the changes and submitting the request and then merging all of those changes. Cool. Okay, awesome. Yes. git add dot done, all of that, all everybody is set. Now what we'll do is we'll commit those changes, right? So let's just see what all changes we can commit. So there's again another command that you'll be using here, which is called git commit. And all right, let me know if you are facing any issues while seeing this, but I'm trying to, just make sure that it's all okay. Let's just, all right, visible now? All good? All right. So git commit is what we're trying to do here. We're actually committing all of the stages that we have staged. So let's just add a message. A dash m is actually adding a message to it. We would love our git commit to have a description, right? If you remember correctly, here when we made a change, let me show you. This is on the right side. You see GitHub, right? I want you to see that it's all making those changes there. That's why I've kept it side to side. If you're facing any issues, if the view is like not good, like you're not able to understand that, let me know and I can shift it along. All right, so if you remember, we actually named all of these commits, right? Update readme, create readme, all of that. That is one thing that we need to do, right? We need to give our message, our commit message, a name. So you use git commit dash m. Let me post that in the comment section as well so that it's easier for you to use. Right. So yeah, we do a git commit dash m. Let me write the whole message and then I can paste it in the comment section. And just type, say, we added index.html and updated uh, readme. Right. So you can keep your information as description, but your commit message should actually tell what exactly is the entire your commit about, what exactly what changes are you make. So that's why keeping it to one feature is generally a great practice, so that you can describe it well. The reviewers can review the code, they have clear understanding of what they need to review, etc. Right. So I just create the message. I'll also post that in the comment section for you to actually see what command we're using. So once you're able to see this, you're actually able to commit the file. So I'm just going to commit all of my changes. And as soon as you hit enter, you can see that they've added this particular commit. They've told you that there are two files changed, there are 16 insertions, and they've created a note for it. So let's do a git log now. Git log would tell you that there are, oh my goodness, there are so many changes that you've already made. And what they're telling you is that there is a create readme, an update readme, and an add index and HTML file readme. So you can see it here. There's a create readme, the one that we created on GitHub. There's an update readme, another one we created on GitHub, and there's added index.html and updated readme file, the one that we have created just now. All good. Done commit. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Love to see it. If you're facing issues, folks, let us know. But I'm so excited to see that you're all done committing and adding the code. All right, when we commit it, first it goes to a local repo, then we finally create a pull request. When we commit it, it's actually stored here in our local machine as of now. When we push the code, it actually then goes to uh, our remote repository in GitHub. Does that make sense? And then finally, the pull request part is when you're contributing to a different a code which is not owned by you, somebody else's code, and there you're giving them a request that, hey, this is the feature that I've already published in my own version of your repository. Would you like to add this to your code base as well? Does that make sense? Cool. Let me know if you have more questions. I hope that I have made it clear. All right, so you can see that there are three different commits that we have added here. Now, if we do another git status, it should tell us that the working tree is clean. Yes, so you can see that there in git status, you can see that there is a branch is ahead of origin main by one commit, and then there's nothing to commit, and the working tree is clean. Now, what does this line mean? Your branch is ahead of origin main by one commit, which means that your git repository has only two commits, while your local repository is ahead by one commit. So there are three commits in your local repository. Does that make sense? There are two commits here in the history, right? And there are three here. So it's one ahead by one commit. Your local repository is ahead by one commit. This is the mode where we actually do a git push. But before we do that, there are some other things that we would like. I'd love to show you. So, uh, to give you an understanding of how this works. Now, how does a repository know that you need to push the code to that GitHub link? Is because when we cloned our project and we made all of those changes, it initializes a .git folder, right? It actually gives them that link on where it needs to push the code. How can you access the link? So you can actually do a git remote v to see which remote repository is it connected to. So if you do a git remote dash v, right? Git remote dash v. You can actually see that there are two links to it, which is a fetch and a push link, and both of them are called origin. So origin is the name. You can change the name as well, but this is what by default it's given. Origin is the name of the link, uh, which is the link to your GitHub repository, and it's been given a name in your local repository. So if from now you do a uh, git push, which is actually pushing your code to the origin, we actually do this. We do git push origin, and one other thing that they require for us to tell them is which branch we need to push. Now, before I do a git push origin branch, I'll tell you more about branches. So there's let me just explain it right now, in words. And if you don't understand it, I think we have a different tool as well which we can use to learn more about git branching. All right, so let's say that like I am working on a particular feature. We're working on a health app, right? We've created our basic boilerplate code for health app. We have added some features to it. We're all good and set as a team to make submissions to the project. Now I have an idea to add a new feature to my health app. Let's say I want to actually let the doctors access the patient records directly on the app. Now, in order to work on those, but I'm not sure if I'd be able to work on it in time. And my main code is actually working pretty fine. My app is working fine. I don't want to do I don't want to make changes to the main code and end up not creating something by the end of the hackathon, right? So what I do is I create a separate branch. Now, that branch is basically my code is when I see that the code is being committed to the main branch, it's just not being committed to the main branch anymore. Any changes I make to that branch is basically a copy of that code where I'm making changes to it, and I'll merge that as soon as I'm pretty sure that it's working. I'm sure that it's working. I've tested out my code, and then I can merge my code back to the main branch. Let's say that there's actually a great picture that I can share with you. Let me see. All right. So let me know if you can see this picture. All right, so let's say that your main code is this. My health tab is already full and functioning here. Here is when I decided to add a new feature to it, right? I don't want to change my main code because I'm not sure if I'd be able to finish it in time. Or let's say if this is an ongoing feature, it'll take a lot of time, etc., etc. So I just created a new little feature, added my information, added my code here, and just let that be. Let's say some other member from my team had a different idea. They also created a new branch and started implementing a big feature to it. Now our main code is actually on this repository. As soon as we are ready with the separate branch, we can actually merge our code back into the main branch. And so as like you can add, this is what GitHub branching is, right? You can make commits to different branches. So if I am working on this branch and I'm making commits to it the same way that we made a commit here, I can actually do it by working on a separate branch. Don't worry, I'll do a quick demo of these branches so that you know how to switch between branches, how to work on different code base. We'll do that demo, but I hope the theory part of it is all good. I think it's a way to work on multiple features at once, right? Yes, it's a way to, as you can see, it's a way to work on multiple features. Somebody is working on a little feature, another person is working on a big feature, and then there's the main branch, which is actually a different code. So the general practice, which a lot of software engineers would tell you, is that you never directly commit your code to the main branch. You just create a separate branch, work on that, and then merge your code into the main branch. Even in bigger organizations, there are different branches for it. There's develop, there's main, and there are certain feature branches that you can do for your own work. Everyone on the same page? Let me know if you have issues. If not, we'll just continue with creating our first creating the first pushing the first code for the first time, and then from there we can talk more about GitHub branches. All good, everyone? I need you to mention that in the comment section if you're all good, no issues, and you understand this correctly. Cool, awesome, great, got it. Cool. Let's just push our code. So we talked about git push. I told you about origin, and the next thing I told you about is main. Main is the current branch that we have. Is the branch that you can see is here. So we're pushing this main branch to our main branch in the report repository. Does that make sense? You can see that there is a main branch here. So we're pushing this main branch to the main branch in our GitHub repository, right? So you, once you do a git push origin main and you do this, it'll give you an information that from here, the GitHub project from the main and in your local machine, it's being pushed to the main in the GitHub repository. Already pushed. Awesome, good. Now I'm just going to do a quick refresh, and you can see that there is a third commit present here, which is added index HTML and updated the README file. You can see all the changes that you have made, the boilerplate code, HTML code that you had, learning it. We are celebrating a week-long hacker festival. All of that information is already there. So that's how you actually can push your code directly from your main file to from your local repository to the GitHub repository, and you can see that the code is already has those changes. So there's the GHW file, there's also the index.html file that you can see here. All good? Already pushed? Everybody excited? This is how you can create your first, like, this is how we created your first GitHub request, where we push the code from your local repository. I hope you are excited, and this, if you're doing it for the first time, you got an idea of how, what behind the scenes it is. So I hope you understand Git now a little bit better. All right, let me see how good we are on time. I can see that it's 8:20 p.m. here in my local time, which means that we are a good 1 hour 20 minutes in. We still have some time left. So how about we learn more about branches? Does that look good? Yes, that's the next part we're going to cover. But what if you want to push a code to a certain branch? How you can do that? So let's just cover some part about branches next. Sounds good? Great, awesome. All right, everyone on the same page. At least you've committed a few like you've made 3 commits up until now. I hope you have. If you have made 3 commits, just mention, like, give me a thumbs up in the comment section so that I know you are all on the same page. If you've made 3 commits to your GitHub repository. Wow, it's 1:50 a.m. at your time. I mean, I would say great dedication, but you should definitely get some rest soon. Cool, awesome. Let me know if you have 3 commits. I can see Takor, Nishit, and Notcoder who have already done it. What about everyone else? I hope you have made. I see that a lot of folks have joined in. I can see the numbers on the screen. If you have made 3 commits, just let me know in the comment section. Ooh, awesome, awesome. Love to see it. All right. Let's talk about GitHub branches next. I hope you understand the concept of GitHub branches now. Is that all good? We can see a quick demo of how it's done. All right, cool, awesome. If you have questions, just let me know in the comment section. I promise we'll take them. Okay, can't follow this and work simultaneously. We'll check the recording and do. I hope you did follow it because I was trying to go slow. But if not, that's absolutely fine. If you couldn't follow it along, you can review this session later, and you can always try out different things with Git. That cheat sheet that I shared with you is a great resource for you to try out things yourself as well. All right, let's talk about GitHub branches. So let's say I want to make a few more changes, right? I've already made changes to the main. Let's say I've decided to include some more information, or like include some code here. So let's just see how we can make new branches, right? So in your cheat sheet, you'll actually be able to find this, that there's a way to create new branches by using git checkout. So git checkout is actually a way to check out new branch, like check out a different branch. But if you want to create a new branch, you can actually use a term there. So that's git checkout dash b. If you use that, you'll be able to create a new branch. That's what I'll be doing. But if you want, I can actually show that to you here as well. So yes, if you want to create a new branch, you can use git branch itself. Git checkout actually switches to that branch, the way that we saw here. So let's say you're working on main, but now you're working on the little feature. Let's say you're working back on the main feature. So you want to keep going to and fro, right? You don't want to lose your code at all. If you're working on a different feature, you have a different branch, and that work is going there separately and simultaneously, right? So if you want, you can just go back and forth, and you can go back and forth and then work on different features with the help of branches. Does that make sense? Cool, awesome. So yeah, so there are a lot of features that I told you about, and if you want to delete that specific branch, there's git branch d. So I what you can do a git branch, have a new branch name, and then do a git checkout to check out that branch name as well. But what you can also do is, I'll show you a shortcut. Again, this is already present with you, so you can try this out yourself. But what I'll do is I'll show you a shortcut. So if you do a git commit and then do a B branch, which says that needs new feature. So it's like git commit dash B new feature, right? So if you click on this, it's actually creating a new branch for yourself. Um, sorry, sorry, I did a git commit. My bad, my bad. You don't have to do a commit. I just was thinking of something else. I typed something else. Happens to me all the time. So yeah, sorry. We were doing a git checkout. Git checkout dash B and then adding a new feature. So basically, you're checking out that new branch and you're also creating a new branch simultaneously with this command, right? So now you've switched to a new branch. Now what you can see is that I've actually accidentally included a space in between, so that's the reason it wasn't be created. So now you can see that what we've done is a git checkout dash b and a new feature. So basically checkout is switching that branch, dash b is creating a new branch because it's not present, and new feature is the name of my new branch. So you can see that here it's actually being switched to new feature. You can see that there are two branches now. There's main, there's new feature. This origin head and origin main is actually from your original repository, or remote branch in GitHub. So you can see your remote branch code in GitHub and in VS Code. You can see the new feature code. You can see the main code. All right. So let's make a few changes to see how it works, right? So let's say you have a title now. Here it's called document. I don't want it to be called document. I want it to be called Global Hack Week. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a few changes here, and you will be able to see that change is happening in real time, right? So yeah, let's say you have Global Hack Week present here. Cool. Let's do a git. I'm not gonna make many changes, so you can just follow along. I'll do a git add. Let's do a git status. Let's just follow the conventional practice. So here you say that it sees that there's on new branch there's nothing to commit. The reason being I've not done a save. So that's one thing that you have to do. You have to save things in VS Code to actually see that. You see that I've already, when I do a git status again after saving it, you can actually see the index.html file changed. Quick question break. There are questions on stream. I want to push my code to new branch. If we don't use dash b, then what will happen? Okay, so if you don't use dash b and you do a git checkout, it's actually looking for a new branch. If you do a dash b, it's going to create that new branch for you. Otherwise, you have to do a git branch, create that branch, and do a git checkout and check out that branch. Next up, I want to push my code to a new branch. So what do I do? That's what I'm trying to like. That's what we are doing a demo of now. So now I've switched to a new branch. I'm at new feature branch, as you can see, and I've modified my title to say, instead of document, it says Global Hack Week. And as you can see, when after doing a git status, you can see that there is a modified index.html file here, right? So let's do a git add and make this comment. Now you all are pros in making git comments, right? You know how to make a git commit dash m, and let's say named my HTML page GHW. Right, so you've made that commit and now it's on new feature. Now let's just check out what our main branch looks like. So I'm going to do a git checkout main. So as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm checking out main now. I'm trying to see if there's anything on the main branch. So now it's switched back to the main branch, as you can see here. And when as soon as it switched back to the main branch, what I can see is that document, the title of the document changed back to document. It's not my GitHub page anymore, right? Because that commit is what we made on the new feature branch. Does that make sense, everyone? Were you able to follow along? So if I do a git status here, I won't see anything. Working tree is clean because there's nothing to commit. I've not made any changes. Let's say I add a change here in the body. I actually do a h1 tag, and then we'll say my GitHub page. Right, so I'm just doing this and I've saved it, do a git status. Now you can see that the index.html file is actually modified as well. Again, now again, you all are pros. You can do this. Tell me what we need to do. I'm going to type it out for you so you can see a git status. If I want to commit this code, what is the first command that I have to use? All right, yes. What's the first command that I need to use before I make the commit? Yes, before git commit. What do we do before git commit? Right now, the changes are not staged, they're not tracked. Yes, you do a git add dot or you do a git add file, whichever you prefer. So you do git add dot, and then you do a git commit as rightly mentioned, and then here is where we add that information, that message that hey, we added a heading. Cool. All right, let's do a git status. Working tree is clean. Now my code, remember, I've not pushed code anywhere yet, right? The only thing I've done is actually make changes to both those branches. So now let's check out those branches and see those changes, right? Git check out new feature. We switch to new feature, we can see Global Hack Week. The heading is not there. We can see that the title is Global Hack Week. We can see that the heading is not there. But if I do check out main, I can actually see that the document and GitHub page is present, right? So now there are two separate branches at play here, right? What if I do want, like, I want to push my code now. I want to see, I want to push my code back to GitHub. I can either push two separate branches, or what I want to do is I want to merge the code here itself in the main branch and then push the code to my GitHub. Does that make sense? Everyone, you can follow along. Sorry. Cool. Yes. Cool. Everyone can follow along. I can see that everyone has already done this step. So, and I can see that you're already giving me suggestions. Yes, that's what we need to do. So now that we're on the main branch, we have to merge our branch into our main branch. So I'm going to do a git merge. And in this merge part, I'm going to give them the branch name, so that it can merge my new feature code to my main branch. Does that make sense, everyone? Awesome. I can see a lot of folks who are live, but I can only see a few of those folks responding in the comment section. I would love to hear from you as well. If you have issues, just let me know in the comment section. If not, we'll just move forward. Now we're merging our code in the new feature. So as soon as we did that, it's telling us that we're merging the code. Please enter a commit message to why is this merge is necessary, etc., etc. So let's just add a commit message. All right, so we saved that commit message that we had. You can type in for your own type in your own information, but I just saved whatever it was already there. So it's auto merging HTML, and now we can see that our code is actually merged into main. It can show us that there's an insertion, there's a deletion, and now the code is merged new feature into main. So you can see that the title is now Global Hack Week, which is changed. A new feature is merged, and this GitHub page was a change we made in the main. So if you remember, Global Hack Week was present in new feature, and my GitHub page heading was present in main branch. Now both of them are merged to give us the final result, which is that the title should be Global Hack Week, and the body should contain a tag, which is my HTML page, right? So let's just see a git status to just quickly see if there's nothing for us to commit. We've made no changes. All of it is good. Well done. You've already done this. You've already done this part. So now there's only one thing for us left to do, and that is push the code back to our GitHub repository remotely, right? So let's just do that. Everyone ready? Awesome. So yeah, we are actually pushing the origin main back to our GitHub repository. And once you do that, it's actually done all of those things. Again, if you are facing issues here, if you're facing issues with the git push origin master command, there might be a prompt for you to give your username and password if that's not already set. These are a few commands that I'm going to share with you just as a tip. This is basically like typing the username and also typing the email, configuring your email address. If it's still giving you an error for password, there is actually a way for you to create a personal access token, and I'll share those links as well. These are two ways that we are. It's just one issue that I know a lot of folks have faced, so I'm sharing that tip with you. If you're not facing that issues, well, good, well done. You'll be able to push your code without any issues. All right, so as soon as you've pushed the original feature, here you can see that you still have two branches, right? Main and new feature. Your work for new feature is done. You don't need new feature branch anymore. You've pushed your code, you've done your work. What we can do is we can clear up those branch. You can actually use this cheat sheet command, which is git branch dash d, which is deleting that branch. So let's just delete the new feature branch because we don't need it anymore. So you do a branch dash d, and then you can delete this branch, new feature. All right, everyone, good? Everyone, you on board? I can see a few comments, so let me just answer a few messages before I delete that branch. And if you have issues, then we can work through them. What if both main and new feature had two different titles and I merge them? If let's say they have two different titles, you can and you merge them, that would create a merge conflict, which means that you have to tell your code sample what title would you like to keep. And so there would be actually there would be GitHub merge conflict resolution that you can do. I can actually show you that. So let's just not delete the new feature branch. Let's just show you how merge conflict looks like. All right. I think they need to install Git. Yeah, yeah. When you install Git, it should be good. What if the both? Okay, yes, cool. Let's work on that. All right. So let's say you have GitHub page here. That's the main branch we are in. We say that this is the main branch. All right. Cool. Let's save this, do a git status again. And I don't like, it's a good practice to always do git status just to make sure you track your own changes and keep your working tree clean as much as possible. So it's just a habit that you should definitely develop. All right. So you can see that index.html file is modified. Let's just add, and I'm just adding my code right now. Don't worry about, what changes we are making. We just um, added code to main branch. We've committed it. Now let's check out our other branch, which is new feature. And as soon as we see new feature, we see that there is actually no body present. So let's just add a h1 tag here and say global hack week. This is the new feature. All good? All right, everyone on the same page. So saving this, and now I'm going to commit this in the new feature branch. So git add dot, then do a git commit. Now we added code to new feature branch. All right, let's do a git log here to see real quick. You can see that there are a number of commits that you can see that we've added code to the new feature branch. We have named the HTML page GHW. We've added HTML and XML readme. All right. There are some other changes as well, but let's just move on. Coming back. Cool. Okay, so now we actually want to see a git status again, just to make sure that our working tree is clean. Everything is committed on the future branch, so nothing to worry about here. Let's check out our main branch again and do a git log there. So when you check out main, it switched to main branch, and now we're doing a git log. You can see that there is added code to main branch here, but we don't have any added code to new feature branch commit present here, right? Because it's in the other branch. So now that you can see all of these changes, now is our turn to actually merge that code. So let's do what Takura, I think Takura had that question, right? Yeah, or Jayesh, sorry, yeah. Jayesh asked us to merge that code and create a conflict, right? So we're going to do that. Okay, so git merge. Okay, sorry, new. Now you can see that there is actually, it's giving you an error. So that because here is what the incoming change is, here's what the other change looks like, and it's asking you to tell us what you want to do. You can either accept the current change which is coming, you can either accept the incoming change, you can accept both changes, keep both of them, or you can compare what the changes are. So there are a bunch of things that you can do here. So let's say here it says my GitHub page, this is the main branch, and the other one says global hack week, this is the new feature branch. So what if we just accept the incoming change, the one which is coming new? So the new feature branch, global hack week, this is the new feature branch. We accept that, and now we can see that that's what's being accepted. So that's how you actually remove merge conflicts. This is something you can actually do on GitHub as well, but this is what you have shown you through terminal. All right. Okay, cool. Okay, let's just push the code now. Origin, master. There is some issue. Oh, sorry. Main. All right, we've pushed our code, git push origin main. We've already pushed our code up on GitHub. Let's go back and see if all our changes are present there. You can see that there are 7 commits. We made a lot of comments. We actually did all of these things, right? We created README, updated it, added the index page, named the page GHW, added a heading, merged the new feature branch, and then added code to the main branch. All of it is present here. And if you see the code, you can actually see the index.html file. It contains Global Hack Week, my GitHub page, and main branch. So all of that information that you were looking for is actually present, and we've already committed most of our code to GitHub. And that's how you resolve a merge conflict. So we've covered a bunch of things here. We know how to initialize a GitHub repository. We know how to clone it. We know how to push changes and merge code. We know how to create branches. We are understanding on how the branches work and how to check out different branches. We know how to resolve merge conflicts. So there's a lot of things that we did, right? Let me just pause my screen share, come back here, and then help you out with a bunch of questions. All right. Yes. Okay. So, can you explain about GitHub organization? I'm sorry, a question is a little vague. Can you let me know what you want to know? Do you want to know about GitHub as the website? Do you want to know, like, what exactly Git is? Because that's something that we've covered in the beginning of this session. So you can just start the video again, and then you can just check that information out. About readme, okay, yeah, of course. Let me share my screen again, and you can see that. So if you see GitHub here, you can see that this is a readme file that we've created. Readme is just a way for us to tell somebody who's looking at a project what the project is about. So you can tell them about what the project is. You can create headings. It uses markdown, so you can just format it as you want, right? There are a lot of things that you can do here. What if you want to undo the merge thing? If you want to undo the merge thing, you can actually, like, I'm from what I understand you mean is that you don't want to accept the incoming changes, or you have already accepted the incoming changes but you want to go back. You can actually go back to the previous branch and then reset it to the previous version. What you can also do is, if you want to go back to the, yeah, you want to stay in the main branch, you want to keep the main branch code, you can actually reset your code to that the other commit. So there's a command in the cheat sheet that you can use for this. As I said, git reset. Let me show you. Yes. So git reset. It undoes all the commits after the current commit. So basically, let's say in your local repository, you want to undo that comment, right? So let's do a git log here, see what all we have. We have a bunch of changes that we did. So let's say we want to go to the place where we actually merged the new feature, right? We want to go back to this point. So let's just do q and then git reset. I hope you can see my screen. And then what I did was just actually add the comment message number here. So once I do this, it unstaged all the changes and then reset my code back to the version where it didn't have that information, right? So you can do that. You can go back in your comments. You can go forward in your comments. You can do all of that by yourself. Cool. All right. Choose the option. Okay. Choose. But then I have to accept them. Yeah, exactly. If you want to accept both changes, you can always do that. You can go back to the previous version of the comments and then do like accept those more changes if you want. You can like change that information. Now, can we track all the merge conflicts happen if you want to choose another one in conflicted mode later? Okay. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. You can always go back in your comments and you can check those out. I try to do that in that way because that way I know what changes I'm coming. Right now we just made like a statement change, but when you're working on code, there are a lot of things that can go wrong. So it's always easier to go back in comments and then see what your code contained. You'll always have your other branch, right? You can do a git branch dash d to delete that branch later on. That's what I'll be doing next, but that's the one thing that you can do. You can delete your branch once you're sure that it's the feature is developed, but if you want, you can always go back and forth with that. Awesome. All right, let's just quickly delete the branch that we wanted to. I'm just gonna 1 second. Okay, let me just pull the screen back up. All right. 1 second. Yep. All right. I hope you can see my screen and the GitHub page as well. So yeah, let's just go ahead and delete the branch that we wanted to. So if you want to delete the branch, there are again you would refer to the sheet, but there is a way to delete that branch, which is git branch dash d, and you include the branch name. So that's what we're going to do next because our feature is developed. We've pushed our code, everything is great. So we just do a git branch dash d, and then click new feature. All right, it's not fully merged. Oh, we actually did go back. Yeah, we did go back to our role changes, but if you want, you can do it capital D, which is just forced delete. I would not recommend doing that, but if you want, you can do that. We're going to do that because we're already done. We have pushed our code. So we've deleted the branch. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Now that it's all done, let me just come back here and answer a few more questions. Next session is Intro to React. Any idea what are the prerequisites of ending? Again, this is beginner week, friends. There are no prerequisites whatsoever for attending sessions. Go up there, let them know that you're a beginner, you have no idea what it is about, and you can just get started. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, just quickly, I think a few questions are about sharing the sheet, so let me do that. Do you have any more questions you can put? I think Jayesh already shared that sheet. So thank you so much, Jayesh, for sharing it with us. Nishit, the link is in the description. I'll also put that up here on screen for you to look at. Awesome. Love to see it. Friends, thank you so much for keeping up this energy with me. It was so great to take this session with you. And I can see that the comment section was brimming with responses, which I always love. It's been a while, but I absolutely love being back here on stream to help you all learn new skills. And I hope this session was fruitful for you all. If you haven't checked in yet, go ahead and check in right now at hackp.ac/gitghw. It was so great to meet you all again. If you want, you can always reach out to me on Twitter. I'll share my GitHub, my Twitter link username here. So it's at the rate Sashrika Core. If you learned something great from this session and you want to share your knowledge, just go ahead and do that. You can always tweet to us at ML Hacks. That's our username everywhere else. And you can also tag me, which is at the rate Sashrika Core. And it was so great to see you all here. So if you want, just go ahead, post something and let me know. And I would love to reshare it with you, for you all as well. Thank you so much. Such great, lovely responses. Love to see that. I'll also be live for your daily check ins and for a Chrome Dino event later this week. So, see you all then. Best of luck for all of your sessions. Do learn some great learnings. There's so much to learn from Global Hack Week. And considering that this is the beginner week, it's a great opportunity for you all to attend all of the sessions that you want without any prerequisites. So, don't worry about it and just go ahead and check out all of those sessions. They're great coaches to help you learn those skills. Awesome. Love to see it. Once again, my name is Sashrika and I'm a coach at MLH. So see you all in the next stream. I know that there's an intro to React stream running soon. So again, you can see. I hope to see you all at that event as well. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good day. See ya. Bye bye.